Welcome to On the Corner of Main Street, presented by Plaza Hotel and Casino in downtown Las Vegas. Here is Plaza CEO Jonathan Jossel, Gary Vickery, and I'm your host, Lisa Melmed. Today we are joined by a very exciting guest. She is one of the newest additions to the Plaza Hotel and Casino team member family. We have a brand new general manager here at the Plaza Hotel and Casino. Welcome, Sue Ascanio, to On the Corner of Main Street.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Welcome, Sue. Welcome to your first podcast.
Thank you, Jonathan.
I think we just had a hat trick. This is our third podcast in a row where it's their first ever podcast.
Wow.
Or maybe it's our fourth. Was Marilyn Spiegel's first? Yeah. We had Marilyn, we had Tim Poster, we had Andre, and they was all their first.
Wow.
So, Sue, you're an illustrious company. But welcome to the Plaza, most importantly, and welcome to our podcast at the Plaza. I was planning to give you a bit more time to get your bearings and your feelings, but you seem so at home and so comfortable with all of us. I thought, screw it, we'll throw you on the podcast now.
It feels like you've been here for a while.
And to be honest, we were walking
the
casino floor now, and a guest came up to us and said, "Oh," I introduced Sue, and he said, "Well, they've talked about you on the podcast. Why haven't you been on it yet?" So it feels like the people want to hear from you.
I'd rather jump right in. It does feel like I've been here, and that's a good thing.
Yep.
Well, welcome to the team, and we're honored to have you joining us. And I think people are going to be excited to hear about you and your ideas.
Thank you.
So where are you from, and how did you end up in Las Vegas?
So I'm a native New Yorker. Mm-hmm. You probably will be able to tell by my accent that still 30-something years later still comes out. But born and raised in New York. And how I ended up in Vegas, it was really, there was no real plan. It just happened. I never aspired to work in gaming, to be an industry gaming leader, but I graduated high school in New York really at a young age. I was 16, and so I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I went to college for about a year and a half, majored in accounting, and very quickly figured out that that was not what I wanted to do. I had a friend that I had grown up with in New York who moved out here when we were probably, I would say 7th, 8th grade. And so I would come out often to visit. And this was early 80s. Wow. So Vegas was really just starting to boom, and loved everything about the city. And so at that point, in 1984, I said, I want to change. I want to change from New York. I want to change the scenery. I'm going to just finish college at UNLV and see what happens. And I got out here, was still an accounting major, and very quickly figured out that if you're going to attend UNLV, you had to be a hotel major. That's why everyone came here from all over the world, right?
Yep.
So transferred to the hotel school, graduated with a hotel degree, and still really had no idea what I wanted to do. So started interviewing. Back then, we were really highly recruited at UNLV. So I got a number of job offers both in Vegas and in New York and Chicago, and I decided to go work for what was back then the Holiday Casino, Center Strip.
Which we talked a lot about with Marilyn.
Yep.
Yes.
But back to the UNLV thing, do they place you as part of like an internship? I know like when I went to dealer school, they wanted to place me at different casinos. At UNLV, they don't place you either for internships or for jobs when you're done there. You're on your own once you're done there, but you're getting recruited, like you said.
Yes, and my internship was in my senior year, and I actually did it at the Castaways, which is where the Mirage now sits, which is about to become the Hard Rock. So yeah, a long time ago.
Castaways?
Yeah, the Castaways.
Wow.
So and you mentioned Marilyn Spiegel, who was Marilyn Wynn for years. Mm-hmm. We actually not only worked at the Holiday Casino together, we started on the same day and went through orientation together. She was the training manager, and I took a job under Tom Jenkin, who I'm sure you're familiar with, right? Tom Jenkin back then was the food and beverage manager, and he hired me as a food and beverage supervisor in the employee cafeteria.
At the Holiday?
At the Holiday Casino. I had never worked in a restaurant, a hotel. I had no idea what I was doing.
And just the employee cafeteria.
Just the employee cafeteria.
How amazing to that a hotel would need, for their hotel cafeteria. You don't even think about that. That's interesting.
I probably had a couple thousand employees back then. Or close to that.
Was it a buffet?
It was not a buffet. It was a grill. I remember they used to carve prime rib. If you tipped the cook really well, you got prime rib.
And if you didn't, you got what?
Yeah. So that was my first job, food and beverage supervisor in the employee cafeteria. And within 3 months, I had done pretty much everything you could do in a cafeteria, reorganized it, cleaned it, changed the menu, and started getting really bored. And they moved me to the buffet. Great place to start in food and beverage, because if you can run a buffet that back then, think about this is 1980, now it's 1987. I just graduated UNLV. Was at UNLV from 84 to 87. So if you can run a buffet that was putting probably 6,000 plus covers a day through it, 'cause there weren't that many hotels. And that's where I started in food and beverage, and really just worked my way up from there. Loved food and beverage. Harrah's, eventually Holiday Casino was bought out. It became Harrah's, Las Vegas, and the company kept growing, and they were really good about offering us opportunities for advancement and cross-training you. So they really just plucked me out of F&B and cross-trained me on the hotel side. And I had the opportunity. I eventually became a food and beverage director with them, the first female food and beverage director on the Strip, and the youngest male or female ever. So,
whoa, Sue, that's amazing.
Yes, the thing about 1987 female food and beverage director is unheard of.
Wow, congratulations. And I was just on a podcast called CityCast, and they asked me in the podcast, are you the first female general manager downtown? I said, I don't know, but if even if you aren't, it sounds great. Let's say you are. But do you know if you are? I think you are. I couldn't think of anyone else, but you are the first female general manager in downtown. Congratulations.
Woohoo. How about
So
that?
I should say the first.
Wow, 2023.
Took only a few years to get there.
Yeah. And this was back at 87. So, So from food and beverage director, learned hotel, picked all that up. And I spent about 9+ years with Harrah's, and then went to work for 12 years, Station Casinos, locals market. And that was also a really terrific experience. Was able to move to different properties without having to relocate, because really at that time I had no interest in leaving Vegas. I loved Vegas from the day I got here, everything about it. And I spent 12 years in food and beverage positions, hotel director, director of operations, ultimately assistant general manager and general manager for Sunset Station for about 3.5, 4 years, Texas Station and Fiesta. And so that's my Vegas career.
And Stations, what was it like? Any obvious differences between Harrah's and Stations? Harrah's, which today is Caesars.
Yeah, so the cultures were very similar. How we operated was similar. I would say the biggest difference was in the customer, the demographics, where Harrah's Las Vegas was all out of town and Stations was most all local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you and Stations had a corporate office back then, or were you at an individual property?
Yeah, so Palace was the corporate office, and that's where I was for the first 5 or so years, 6 years.
Okay, I feel like somebody told us. Oh, Cedric Creer told us that when he talked about Palace, when he worked in marketing there. He was in Palace at their offices there. Yeah.
Cedric Creer worked with me. Terrific guy. He was our marketing leader when I was a GM at Sunset Station.
Okay, yeah. And now he's our city councilman and running for mayor.
Yeah, I spoke to him probably about a year ago, but I have not seen him in a long time, so it'll be great now that I'm back in town to catch up with him.
You and I are going to visit with him either next week or the week after.
Yeah, love Cedric. That's great.
Okay.
Nice. Such a small town.
Yeah, so that's my Vegas career. And then what happened after 12 years with Stations was about 2008. And we know what happened in the industry, really in all industries, and especially in Vegas. The housing market imploded and our industry was significantly impacted here in Vegas. And so I then relocated to Indiana.
Oh, wow.
So it was a great opportunity from a career standpoint to do something outside of the Vegas market. And also personally, our daughter was 10. My son was already starting college at the time, so he stayed in Vegas. My daughter was 10, and we thought, how great will it be to raise her in the Midwest? And I ended up working in Indiana for Penn National Gaming and for Pinnacle Entertainment as a general manager of a beautiful resort, Belterra Resort Casino in southern Indiana for 8 years till the company got sold. And our daughter got to grow up in the Midwest in northern Kentucky, and it was a win-win situation and terrific experience.
You were there a while, though, weren't you?
10 years.
Did you change titles there? Or did you go there as the general manager?
I went as a general manager.
And you stayed there the whole time?
Yeah, the first 2 years I was with Penn National Gaming. We finished the development and build out and opens up their new riverboat. And then I went over to Belterra Casino Resort, which was in the same market, and I was a general manager there for 8 years.
Have you ever been out there, Lisa?
No.
Maybe we should take a trip and visit.
Okay. See, will you take us
Of course.
on a tour?
Of course. So you're a golfer. Belterra Resort has a Tom Fazio Designs golf course,
Oh,
beautiful
wow.
18-hole golf course, and some really nice amenities.
I wouldn't call me a golfer, but that's very kind of you. Thank you. I
What would
attempt
you call yourself?
a fan of trying to golf. I'm not very good at it, but yes, thank you. That's a nice compliment. And so were you? I don't know much about those types of properties and the sort of how they operate and what they do, but were you able to make changes there? Was it an easy place to sort of learn the business? Could you take what you learned in Vegas and apply it there?
Yeah, I think a lot of it crossed over. And we were a big company. We had 16 plus properties, so there was a lot of property support from the different properties and from corporate, which was actually here in Vegas. We didn't have any properties in Vegas, but corporate.
The corporate was
For Pinnacle Entertainment,
Okay.
corporate was here in Vegas. So
and what were they running here in Vegas?
Just the corporate office.
So they were just based here, but they were running everything regionally.
Exactly.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was a riverboat because only casinos can only be on riverboats, like what Marilyn Spiegel was telling us about her in New Orleans.
Yeah, it was a riverboat. So the casino was a riverboat, and the rest of the amenities, the hotel, the retail, restaurants, were all land-based. But it didn't sail. The boat didn't go anywhere.
No, right.
And
It's
then
very
eventually, after about, I would say I was in Indiana 5-6 years, they finally passed land-based. And so casinos started building land-based. Some did not, because as an example, the Lawrenceburg, Indiana property that we had a few years prior spent $330 million building a new riverboat. Well, they said, we're not going land-based. Like, we should spend all this money.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of opposition to it from some of those
Right.
casinos. But eventually, yeah, they went land-based.
Did you miss Vegas?
I miss Vegas a lot. I did. But fortunately, with corporate being here,
Oh, you could come back.
yeah, so we had a partnership at the time with MGM and then later with Wynn Resorts. And so we would bring from multiple properties, we would bring our top players to Vegas often.
Like
for
a cross-marketing?
Cross-marketing. We brought them for slot tournaments at Mandalay Bay, went to Garth Brooks. So we did a lot of that. And with my son here, I got to come back often. So.
I think that's exactly why all the tribal gaming is investing in Vegas now, from Hard Rock to Palms to Virgin, because instead of having to do cross-marketing deals, they can just send their customers here on and keep 100% of their wallet.
Yeah, that's interesting for me to see because I just spent the last 2 years in Northern California.
Was that a straight
tribal gaming?
Straight from Indiana, you went tribal?
No, so I took 2 years off. So when the company got sold, I decided to come back to Vegas. My daughter was now already back here in her second year at UNLV, so she graduated high school in Northern Kentucky, and a month later packed up her bags and moved right back here to go to UNLV. So both of my kids were here. So I came back here. We had kept our home here and just never sold the house. And I took 2 years off. The first year was terrific. Did a lot of traveling, catching up, doing all the things that you don't have the time to do when you're working. And it was terrific. And then the pandemic happened. No more traveling. Started getting really antsy and just went back to work. And that's how I ended up in California, Northern California, with a tribe.
Shoot, so you've already retired once. You might retire again soon.
No, that was a 2-year break.
Okay,
And
good.
I'm good to go probably for another 10, 12 years.
I'm only
You
joking.
might be-
I knew that. I knew that part.
And I
It
know
was
you
one of
know, I must have not made much of an impression on you because I met you back then. I actually came here. I just relocated back to Vegas, and I attended a dinner here, Oscars.
Oh, really?
Oscars series, and
You
we
came to the
met.
dinner series?
I did, and Sipa, I remember you. And,
Wow.
And you asked me. You said
Oh,
to
no,
me,
no.
"So are you done for good?" And I said, "Absolutely, I'm done." And then here we are.
I go into like a zone at the dinner series because I'm meeting a lot of people. I'm talking. Although I think when you came to, it was back in the old room. It was before, not when we did it in the big room.
Right.
Yeah, so it was a really long time. Give me a break.
And since she said she's done, you're like, okay, you don't need to
Right.
file that away.
Didn't need to make a mental note that we need her here one day. But how? I mean, the first question I think I asked you in the interview was like, why would you want to leave Northern California, wine country, and where you have basically a monopoly of a casino? It sounds like a dream.
Yeah, but have you watched the news the last few days?
There's a little bit of a rain.
Fires, floods, all kinds of.
Yeah. But isn't having a casino in Sonoma basically like paradise?
It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. I really was ready to get back to Vegas, to get back into this market. Look, I have been really fortunate to work in different markets with fabulous folks, great team, great properties, companies, but there's no place like Vegas. It really isn't.
When you came down here and we did our first tour, I was like, here's the Greyhound bus station, or the former Greyhound bus station, thinking she went from the wine farms to the former bus to the former Greyhound bus station. I couldn't quite wow you with that. But then I showed you the bulls and the horses up in the arena, and that was pretty good.
Yeah.
When was that tour?
Day 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no place like Vegas.
So and talk a little bit about what happened up at the Tribal Gaming in Sonoma. What was that like? What was the customer base like there? And how was your experience there?
It was a great experience. Folks are very laid back in that area. The scenery is obviously beautiful. I looked out my window, and the property sat way up on a hill overlooking all of the vineyards. So it was a beautiful view. It's very laid back, more laid back than this market, for sure. Folks are very, very nice. The team members and our guests are very nice.
Any difference in the gaming offerings out there than versus here?
So from a slot product standpoint, very, very similar.
Yeah.
Guests play pretty much the same games. Very little video poker, and then no dice or live roulette. So that's not legal in California yet.
Oh, wow.
Just blackjack and not novelty games.
Oh, not craps either?
No dice.
No dice.
Yeah.
It's
Is
like
that
the
where that
game-
comes from? No dice?
No craps.
So now, Lisa, you're going to ask me, I'm sure, why did we choose Sue?
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. How do
Or
you know?
is that not what you wanted to ask me?
No, yeah. Why Sue? This was a long process. Someone at Super Bingo just asked me, "Is this a new position that you've opened up as general manager?" I was like, "No, we've had general managers before, but Jonathan just really taken his time, going through and selecting the right person for this role."
That's right. Our previous general manager was a wonderful guy. He moved back to Texas to be with his family. Shout out to Jay, who's not listening. He's on a ranch in Texas, but great guy. And he left in about April last year, and we weren't in a rush. You're correct. We opened the position. We talked to a lot of different people. A lot of interest in joining what I think people see now as a very exciting time to be in downtown Las Vegas. That was the number one thing was they love what's happening at the Plaza. They love what they're seeing in downtown. You read the articles on all the different gaming outlets, and it's all about downtown. I think Tony Shea put us on the map. Derek Stevens with Circus changed the perception. A lot of the great reinvestment happening in downtown. So we had a lot of people interested, a lot of applicants. I was also surprised how many people from big properties or a lot of impressive track records like Sue were even interested in coming down here. Historically, that hasn't always been the case, but now I think they are. But what struck me with Sue was, one, she had tremendous references. People that I really admire were willing to put their names on Sue, including someone who works here who knew Sue very well. So that always helps. Two, I think Sue had a very curious mind about downtown. And I like that because I think a lot of people I talk to, especially years and years ago that used to come here from the Strip, they came here with a preconceived notion of what downtown is and what they have to do down here. And they weren't successful with that. I think coming here with an open mind and being curious about what works and what doesn't work down here is the best way and to learn about it because it is different. It's a different market to the Strip. It's a different market to the locals. But Sue had all of those various experiences. And then I thought, well, I could also learn from, what happens out in California, Indiana, different markets that she's been in to bring all of that experience to us was very important. So I think there was a few. Those were the initial reactions. And on New Year's Eve, Sue was here at 2:00 in the morning, picking up bottles, cleaning the casino floor, helping out, being a force on the floor. And so kudos to you, Sue, for fitting right in, because that's what we like to do here. We're all contributing and we're all a part of it. So I think those were the reasons. Did I miss anything, Sue, that you thought I should say?
I think you said it perfectly.
Wait, Sue, what was your impression of Jonathan and the Plaza and downtown?
Yeah, so...
What was your impression then or now?
Then.
Yeah, so I thought that when Jonathan and I met that he had a lot of passion for the industry, similar to me. I love that. And you don't always see that, especially other markets. That passion, that energy, the creativity. I look at the Plaza in downtown. So years ago, I was a local, and you didn't really think about going downtown when you were going to go out. And then over the years, as I came back to visit, and then when I moved back here 4+ years ago, I was amazed at how much downtown had changed and how it was revitalized, quite frankly. And I was telling you earlier, Jonathan, when I have family and friends that come to visit now, it used to be they'd say, let's go to the Raj and look at the volcano and Bellagio and see the fountains and blah, blah, blah. And now, just recently, over the holidays, we had family and they said, let's go downtown. Like, that's where people want to be.
Yep.
And then my 24-year-old, that's all she does when she goes out is comes downtown. So it's just been, it's been such a transformation.
Right.
Of what it used to be, and such an exciting time to be here. And for me, again, I did the Strip for many years. I did the locals market. This is the final piece of the puzzle to me, and I am so excited about that.
I think the burger at Oscar's is the new volcano. It's like the must-see attraction in Las Vegas.
I agree.
But you mentioned Oscars, and this, I really didn't know that this restaurant existed. It's kind of like one of Vegas's best kept secrets. The experience here is absolutely wonderful. The
I
service,
would have
the
called it a
food.
secret on New Year's Eve. It was not a secret.
Right.
Sue and I shared the Wagyu. It was delicious. Have you had the burger?
I have not.
Wow.
But I had the snapper, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm really debating getting a contest because a few people that had it on New Year's Eve with me were like, this is the best burger I've ever had. I think we need a burger contest, and we host like the 4 best burgers in Vegas, and once a month or once a quarter do a blind tasting on it. But we got to do that. But back to Sue, I did want to say that we didn't need to hire someone for this position. I think that's important to say. Like that's why we didn't rush it as well. Plaza's on a really, really good growth trajectory. It's improving every year over year. It's getting better. So we weren't trying to necessarily force somebody into that role. I think some places do that, and we wanted to take our time, find the best person culturally that would fit in as well, and be here for the next decade to make a difference. But Sue, with her experience, convinced me that it's something that I can get better as well. I don't know everything. I've been down here. It's the only place I've ever been a part of in hotel and casino world. So having someone who's been at 5-6 different places, bringing different industry knowledge was important to me. So that was another big reason I think it could make us a lot better.
Since you've worked here so far, has anything surprised you about the Plaza that you might not have thought about when you first started working or interviewing?
I wouldn't say anything specifically surprised me, but I am really just amazed at how beautiful this property is. A lot of amenities that I didn't expect to see here. The room product is terrific. The service, the team here, as I said, Oscar's experience here was wonderful. So I'm just, I guess, pleasantly surprised by all of the amenities and products and services that are offered here. It's a terrific property.
I love it. Well, for both of you, what are your goals for 2023? And how do you come in as a new person and try to set new goals without like overpowering too much? You know what I mean?
Same way you eat an elephant.
One bite at a time. You're on fire.
Sorry. Go on, Sue.
So for me, I like to take the first few weeks, couple of months to really observe a lot, absorb, ask a lot of questions, get to know team members build those relationships, get to know guests, to understand the market, right? So this is my first downtown gig. I've been walking Fremont and shopping our competitors, observing, experiencing the gaming, the food and beverage, and that's really what I want to do initially, is to get to know team members, build relationships, get to know our guests, understand our business, what we do, why we do it, what our competitors are doing, so that we can develop the goals. And ultimately, part of your goals are always going to be to enhance the guest experience, right? And to grow revenue, to enhance the team member culture, because ultimately our team members are our number one asset, right?
Yep.
And we want to invest in them. And so spending the first couple, 2-3 months learning all of that, so
That's
we
the
could
best.
develop good strategic plans to get us there.
So what about you, Lisa? You got any New Year's resolutions?
I've got lots of goals and lots of things I want to accomplish with the Plaza. Just lots of marketing, lots of drones in our future, I think.
You want to share it with the listeners, any of your resolutions?
And for personally me, I would like to, my word of the year is integrity, and just live within alignment with myself.
Love it.
What about you?
Fantastic. I haven't done resolutions, but I did hear a good exercise that everyone should consider doing, which is you look at your calendar for the prior year and you go through it week by week and you say what are the things that brought you joy and what didn't bring you joy. And you take the 80-20 rule, and the things that brought you joy, you do the top 20% of the things that brought you joy, you do more of, and the bottom 20% of things that didn't bring you joy, you do less of.
Okay, what brought you joy? And
I haven't gone through my
didn't?
calendar and done that. I'm just saying it's a good, healthy exercise
It is
probably
good.
to do.
How about you, Sue?
We're here with Sue.
Yeah, I don't really believe in New Year's resolutions. I'll tell you, I try to go to the gym often and take classes. And what happens is there are the same folks that are at the gym year round. And then come beginning of January, you get all these new folks in the gym and the classes are crowded. And then 3 weeks later, they're all gone. So that's folks that make New Year's resolutions and it just lasts short time.
Yeah.
So I just believe in having consistent goals that are focused on family, on a personal side of family, living a good, healthy lifestyle, professional goals, more so than resolutions. And yeah.
We're going to have to keep going because the Oscars bar is going to be opening soon.
Okay, well,
and we have
some
lots of
really-
burgers to go, but I do want to ask Sue, you've worked at a few different places. Would you say the family culture that you've experienced at the Plaza is different to anywhere else, or is it all in line with other places that you've been? Do we have a different, better, same as?
Better.
I think it's a little too soon to it's been 2 or 3 weeks, but from what I have seen and what I feel so far, it seems to be a really terrific culture, a close-knit group. Many have said welcome to the family, and I know there are some tenured team members here, so that speaks volumes. So, yeah, I think the culture is probably similar to what was at Station Casinos, at least back then. It was very family-oriented and great teamwork.
Nice. Well, great. Thank you, Sue.
We opened up the floor to followers on Facebook and Twitter, and I asked if they had any questions for both of you, so I'd love to share some of them with you and hear your feedback.
Always.
Of course.
All right. Well, so the first one, this is one for the Smoke Free Casino from Pretty Deece. Pretty Deece asked if we'll have single zero roulette in the new non-smoking area.
Thanks, Pretty Deece. Thanks for bringing that up because this is a massive construction project we're doing out front here. We're changing the face of the Plaza. We're opening some really important new venues to the Plaza into downtown, and that was a big part of bringing Sue on, not just with her great operational experience, a food and beverage background, but just having an extra set of eyes, ears, and hands to help me with what is a very, very important investment here. So thanks for bringing up the new projects. And we should do an episode soon talking about updates on everything that we're doing out there. But to answer the question, we're not going to have live table games in the smoke-free area. It's purely slots. We will have electronic table games. Haven't determined yet if it's single zero, but thanks for recognizing the single zero as a brilliant option at the Plaza. Did you know we have single zero roulette, Sue?
Yeah.
The only one downtown?
I've seen it advertised before I even joined the team. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Snakes on a Train 1 asks, do you work in a casino because you dig the vibe or because you're business majors or both? But I want to take it one step further. But why do you keep coming back to the casino industry? And Jonathan, why do you like working in the casino industry so much?
For me, I grew up in this industry. It's all I've ever done since the day I turned 21 and started working at Harris. And the energy, the excitement, I can't imagine doing anything else. That is, my degree's in hotel, but I could have probably done a number of other things. I went to school with folks that have hotel degrees and have nothing to do with the industry. For me, this is all I've ever done. I'm passionate about it. I love it. I took 2 years off and I missed it. Came right back to it and plan on doing it for many more years. Really no interest in shifting gears. I just love the industry, love the energy.
Very nice. Jonathan?
I don't work in the casino industry.
What do you do?
So, you obviously haven't listened to my speeches. The cause and effect. The casino is just the effect, but the cause is everything else. We're in the people business. We're in the hospitality business. We're in the fun business.
Yep, the fun.
And so the casino is a part of it, but it's so much more than that. And every day is a new opportunity. I was having coffee this morning with Oscar Goodman and Paulie Shaw.
As one does.
And a group of guests walked in with a cup from a casino from Fremont Street. And I got talking to them, and they were from Louisiana. And we must have talked for 20 minutes, and they were telling me it's their first time downtown, but they're loving it. They usually stay at the Strip, but they want to be down here. We're in the downtown Las Vegas business. We're in so much more than the casino business.
Las Vegas, UK. Steve.
And Steve had a baby, by the way.
Oh, congratulations, Steve.
Yeah.
We have a gift for you.
We do. That's right.
Reach out.
Oh, come back.
Come back and visit.
Save us on the shipping.
What do you think differentiates Plaza from other properties downtown?
That's all Sue.
The new kid on the block, yeah.
You want to take a stab at it, Sue? And you've been walking the other places. Anything that stands out to you?
Yeah. So again, it's been 3 weeks, and I'm getting to experience the competitors and learn the market. But the first thing that comes to mind, and I shared this with you, Jonathan, my first couple of days here, I played at several other properties and experienced the gaming, the food and beverage, cocktail service. And one of the things that really stands out is the look and feel of our casino floor versus some of the competitors. It felt stuffy, darker, and a lot of games really crowded.
The others did.
Yes, the others did. Yeah. Yes. And when I walk our floor, it feels much brighter and spacious. And it just feels like a better gaming experience. A couple casinos in particular felt really crowded. So that's one of the things that really stands out.
It's a great point. I think for us, it's the diversity. We offer the only bingo in downtown. We offer the only rodeo arena in downtown. We have the biggest parking area in downtown. We have, I think, the best steakhouse in downtown. So we have a lot of amenities and offerings that others aren't doing. And then with the Sand Dollar now opening up, I think, live music is not something on there's Fremont Street Experience. There's a lot of live music as I'm looking out the window at the stage there. But I think Sand Dollar is a different environment to anything else. So we're embellishing on the things we do well with the new carousel bar. And it's those offerings plus the history of the Plaza being at 1 Main Street. I don't think many can compete with that history.
Yeah.
And by the way, Sue, you should have said this and I should have said this first, but it's our people that differentiates us from all of the others down the street.
Sure.
Our host team is the best.
Well, at Stubby Buck, Scott Tubbs
Oh, hey, Scott.
asked, it said for him, the Plaza is great because of its people. They have a very good staff. Wish they would upgrade some of their restaurants in the food court.
Oh, well, if Scott listens to our big announcement today, he'll know that we have a new Hawaiian restaurant going in the food court. And I will do a teaser that we have a 2-year plan. There are some changes coming in the food court that will be significant and dramatic and amazing.
Ooh.
Sue doesn't even know them yet.
I don't even know.
Oh,
No one
interesting.
knows. What are they?
They're all in my head.
Okay.
Let them stay there for.
Okay.
Let's get through the major construction we're doing now, then we'll come to that. But it's
Victor Eltorovic asks, is the plan to connect a cross bridge to the Smith Center still happening? And what are the old Greyhound plans? And when will construction begin for that?
Well, lots of good questions. Yes, the bridge is still happening, but we decided that we would we would wait on the bridge until we had all of our plans for how we want to build on that land. Putting a bridge to nowhere on either side didn't make sense to any of us. So the city does still want to build the bridge. I'm sure at the state of the city, the mayor will talk about the bridge and the connectivity in downtown, and we're a big part of that. The Greyhound isn't happening because we have an art gallery in there right now, and we have not yet 100% decided. There's a lot of exciting plans, including a new parking garage, including an expanded parking garage, including leaving the garage and putting in a different entertainment use down there. So there's a few options on the table, but frankly, the construction on Main Street's been all-encompassing, and we need to get through that before we commit to anything out there. And the rodeo is so successful that we don't want to lose that either yet.
Yep. Seattle Booze Guy asks, when are you going to go 100% smoke-free?
Sue's got an opinion on that. She thinks it's the future.
I do.
I
And
agree
if
with
you
you.
would have asked me before the pandemic, before COVID, non-smoking casinos or non-smoking areas in casinos typically haven't been successful, but I think that has changed post-COVID. And I will tell you, my last property that I just came from in California was a smoking casino. After the pandemic, the property reopened as non-smoking. The entire casino was non-smoking, and even smoking guests commented and appreciated the fact that it was non-smoking. So I think that post-COVID, the world has really changed, and how casino guests, players look at that has changed as well. And that's going to be more and more of the trend. I'm super excited to see that we're going to have non-smoking or smoke-free gaming space. I think it's going to be very successful, and we're going to see more of that moving forward. I think that's becoming the trend.
I could see more smoke-free areas. I don't think casinos are going smoke-free ever. I should say ever. Nothing's forever, but I don't think casinos are going smoke-free. I think too much of the high-end international play doesn't care about going smoke-free, and I don't think that will ever change, but or anytime soon. I shouldn't say ever. I keep saying ever. But I think that you might see more smoke-free areas. You might see more prominent smoke-free areas. I think our smoke-free area might set the trend for others to join in. Especially, why not give that option? I think I heard a stat I heard the other day is that under 15% of Americans smoke. So why would you make the other 85% be subjected to that? That said, again, it's the 80-20 rule, which is the higher end customers might be smoking, or the more prominent slot players are smoking, in which case you don't want to lose them and alienate them.
Agreed.
So I think having the option is important. I don't think the casinos go smoke-free entirely long term.
Yeah, and I do agree that we're going to see more non-smoking gaming areas, expansion of smoke-free casino areas that will be successful, whereas in the past that hasn't necessarily been the case.
And then you raise the question, though, if you see more smoke-free areas, does it really work? Because then the common areas of the hotel, the lobby, the different areas all have to become smoke-free for it to truly be smoke-free. So it's not just the gaming, it's also the other areas. But very few hotels still have smoking rooms, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ace 8 Off asks, the only poker downtown is at the Nugget. Why not have a poker room at the Plaza?
We had a poker room for the longest time. I think the answer, we've talked about this before, is for us, the key is the resources that would need to go into building a poker room are significant. It's not easy. It takes up a lot of real estate. It takes up a lot of gaming floor. The ones that I've tried to, if I was Binions, I would be doing that because they have the best brand for poker, historically speaking. But for us, it's bingo. Bingo's our thing, and all of our time and resources go into building the bingo game, and so we don't want to give that up. We don't want to change that. That's really the reason. It's just a question of space and time.
We have a few more questions. We received an email from Kevin M. If you're up for more questions.
Absolutely.
All right. How do you look at other customers from other properties as future clients?
Say it again?
How do you look at other customers from other properties as future clients?
I don't
How
do you look
How do you gain business from
attract
other
customers
properties?
from other properties?
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Well, I think a big part of that is what we've built in the front here is going to give people's eyeballs something to see when they look at the plaza, in addition to the beautiful lights that the plaza has. This is a lot more prominent. But I think we've talked about this even with Andre last week on the podcast. We're not looking to take customers from our neighbors. We're looking to say, if they come in here, we want to give them the best possible experience. The minute they walk in the door, is the music volume right? Does it smell good? Does somebody greet them when they sit down to play? Is there good cocktail service? Do you have all the right game offerings? Is there amenities that they want to explore and be a part of? And if the answer to all of those things is yes, and then you give them good offers and you take care of them, you make them feel like this is their future home, then they're going to gravitate towards you. And that's what we've always done, and that's what we're trying to do. And it's a slow process, but every single person that comes in, we hope to give that experience to. And I try to talk to the team about that. And if we can do that one person at a time, we'll be happy. And when our customers leave and go down the street or to other places, which we know they do, we want them when they get back to be like, I'm back at the Plaza, and they feel comfortable and they know what they're going to get. And that's what it's all about.
That answers his next question as well.
Do you like that, Sue?
I think it's a great answer.
Thank you.
Absolutely agree.
Then the next question is, he thinks that Vegas is turning more towards the millennial, younger type group with electronic music and less table games. How does this affect your thought process for the future of gaming in your property, as there are not a lot of club type places in your property?
Yeah, I think you touched on it earlier, Jonathan, when you talked about the Sand Dollar and then the Carousel Bar that's coming online.
Well, so those things are geared towards maybe a younger demographic, but not necessarily. I mean, I was talking to some casino guests yesterday that were in Sand Dollar. They were probably in their 50s. They love it. They just think it's such a great addition to the property. I think the answer, Lisa, is Vegas made that decision. Vegas didn't have to go that way to create nightclubs and all of that. Not that they're bad things. They're great, and they're great amenities. But it doesn't mean that everyone has to do that. I think the key to it is having options, giving people Sand Dollar, Carousel Bar. But, you know, our bingo room's growing faster than ever. And some of the other amenities that we have aren't geared towards the younger people. But people's tastes change as they get older. And you have to have offerings for different people. So I think we want to have some elements that bring in the younger audience, but certainly what the Plaza's known for and the core customer here isn't changing anytime soon, would be my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that when you look at some of the slot product that we have on the floor, that is also geared towards a younger demographic. There's some of the electronic games and that slot game with the
claw
claws that I've not seen in any other market, right? So some of that product.
What do you think, Lisa? You're young.
Yeah, I think there's a variety of things, and I think that, you know, younger people get older, and older people like to be surrounded by younger energy. So I think it's all a revolving thing that happens.
Perfect.
But his last question is, you know, the amount that people have to spend when they come to Vegas changes often. And he wants to know, how do you cater to this aspect, like, of a $300 a day spender that will one day become a $3,000 spender? Is there any thought to this?
I think I understand what they're asking is if you build that loyalty that you always talk about early on, right? Through relationship building with the guest and build that loyalty, then they're going to stay with you, so that when that wallet goes from 300 to 3,000, you already have the relationship and you have that loyalty.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. It's a good way to answer, but we gave him enough airtime. Yeah. Hopefully you don't think we're too weird, Sue, doing podcasts and other things. We do like to have a good time here.
Yeah. Why do you do this? What's the reason
Why do we do
behind
it?
Lisa?
It's because we've met the most amazing people and new loyal guests through this podcast. Every time someone emails us and wants to meet up by coffee bar or have a drink at Oscars, it's really why I work in the casino business.
And I thought, Sue, you wouldn't need to ask that question when we walked through the casino and that guest stopped us and said, "Oh, Sue, I've heard about you on the podcast, and why haven't you been on yet?" That's why we do this. It's purely because people appreciate the insight. It's not a advert for the Plaza. It's not all about the Plaza. It's about Vegas. It's insight to Vegas that people wouldn't otherwise get. We hope that one day people will look back on this and say, like, this is a body of work of 100 episodes of Heaven When We're at Rich, whereby they can really get a feel for what Las Vegas was like historically, but also today, and the people that were involved and influential in the city at that time. And that's what we've started building, and the response that we've received from it as a result of it has been worthwhile. And every time I think about, like, okay, we've reached a milestone of 50 episodes, 60 episodes, 70, but then we meet a guest who's here only because they listened to the podcast and it's their first time exploring. They went to La Taille and then they went down to Publicus, or they came to Oscars for the burger. It's too good. It's just too good to have that kind of engagement with people that are passionate about Vegas.
I love it, and I hope I didn't mess up too bad and invite me back.
Maybe you'll come back on.
I hope
Congratulations,
so. I hope so.
your first podcast.
Yeah,
Check.
thank you.
Thank you, Sue. We'll see you in the office. And hopefully, if anyone sees Sue on the casino floor, make sure to stop her and say hello.
Yeah, please do.
We'll be back again soon. But in the meantime, please rate, review, and subscribe. Tell your friends about On the Corner of Main Street. And of course, follow us on social. On Twitter and Instagram, it's @PlazaPod. And on Facebook, find us at Plaza Podcast. Or go right to the top and tweet Jonathan @Jonathan Jossel. We'll see you next time from right here on the corner of Main Street.